Woolworths is a combination of a food and clothing retailer in South Africa and Australia. We own it in the HotStocks portfolio and we have held it for a long period of time.
Yeah, I think we've got about 20,000 rands worth at the moment. It has a market cap of 97.6 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 22 and a dividend yield of 3%.
Well, we have held this one and it's been through ups and downs. Right now, it did seem as though there was a slight recovery in the Woolworths fold. Your feelings?
Yes, and not just a pure fashion retailer. Obviously, they've got the food business as well, which does grow at sort of double-digit growth. And that is quite resilient because, as you've mentioned, it is in a higher sort of LSM category, and that is a bit more resilient through economic hardship and economic pressure. I do feel that the Australian economy it might be a little bit more sluggish than they had originally anticipated when they began with the David Jones acquisition a few years back. But that being said, the Aussie dollar has shown relative strength to the rand, which has strengthened over the past couple of weeks as well. So overall, I think that it's hot. I do like the counter, and I do think that there are good growth prospects.
So we've got a hot from Bjorn already. Let's get your sense. This one you can't tell me is not hot because this is your case for the South African consumer. You feel it's going to do well.
It's becoming more and more Australian. I think it's nearly 50-50. And I actually saw an interesting article this morning how Australia are positioning themselves as a sort of soft luxury hub, you know, of the eastern part of the world. You know, it's 30% of luxury sales in Australia are now Chinese. You know, a lot of Australian brands, David Jones, Country Road, this is where Woolworths have big exposure. Locally, like we saw in the share price, we've seen quite a nice recovery. I actually wasn't concentrating
when that share price graph came up. Can we just have a look at it again? There we go, that recent spike after
So we saw quite a big pullback, lots of negative rhetoric about the South African consumer. And again, you know, then the sort of
my fault.
SA, it's all you, Bronwyn. SA Inc. stocks coming back into fashion almost. You know, a lot of foreign investors looking for good yield, and we saw that 3% dividend yield. That's pretty solid.
It was also quite interesting as the announcement that came out a week ago around them actually disposing of their or realizing cash for the land that they had bought when they did the David Jones acquisition, and they're realizing profits on that sale. So I think that the feedback I got was that land cost them about 170 million Aussie dollars, and they realized about 390 million Aussie dollars for it. So nice profits coming through the disposal of land as well.
And they're using those proceeds to pay off the debt that they used to actually make the acquisition.
Correct.
So that's working out pretty well.
So hot we've got,
definitely
and a hot. We are confirmed double hot on Woolworths.